My mom gave me a sew-in when I was 3.
Wow.
She always talked about how I had a sew-in since I was 3.
Yeah.
And I was like, that should be a form of child abuse, but that's neither here or there.
We listen and we don't judge. As women or as individuals, we go through so much. Our hormones can change.
That's true.
Stress can impact it. We can be on different medicine. And then just genetically. Some people say the front of my hair, that's my mom's texture. The back, that's my great-grandfather. So we have a mix of everything. Emotions, stress, medicine, diet, all of that plays an impact. So I feel like if you're even thinking, can my hair can do this, read the service description and take a leap of faith.
I was combing my hair the other day, a couple weeks ago, and I broke a comb, and it was like everybody looking at me like, "What day?" I'm so thankful that we have just come to this point where we're embracing our natural hair.
Right.
We're working with it, and yes, it might take a little bit more work, but that's why so many Black women and people of color are actually seeking out like hair care companies that make hair care specifically for us, or stylists, and that's always been like a rites of passage, just even as like ever since we were young Black girls. Going to the hairstylist, getting your hair done, getting your hair tamed, and coming out looking beautiful, whether it be braids, whether it be curls. Any kind of natural hairstylist is helping to change the thought process and the perception around natural hair just being this thing that's like, oh, nobody wants to deal with it, and oh, it's not beautiful, to like, this is me.
Right.
What's up, guys? Welcome back to another Urban Eden podcast. I'm your host, Taryn Lewis, and today we are going to be featuring Courtney, aka the Curl Conqueror. And if you guys caught my last podcast episode, you'll see that I shouted her out because my curls were oh so popping at the time, and that felt truly like a form of self-care for me. And I was talking about, I think I talked about in my last podcast a little bit about my natural hair journey, and that was kind of like my first time getting my actual like natural hair done. So I definitely gave you a shout out on there for hooking me up. No problem. So it's ironic that I actually ended up having her on this podcast. I invited her on the podcast today so that we can dive deeper into her being the Curl Conqueror, the Curl Conqueror method, and also just to chop it up about natural hair, because Urban Eden is a natural skincare line, but in order to take care of your natural skin, you also got to take care of your nail and your hair too. So
for sure.
It's hair, skin, and nails. It all goes together. And then this is also a podcast where we talk about holistic methods, and so it all goes together. It's all one. Yes. So yes, a lot of us have natural hair, and we definitely need to have this conversation about natural hair and our curls. Okay. So, y'all know that I love to do my formal introduction when I have a guest, so I'm going to jump into that, and then we're going to get into the nitty-gritty with Courtney.
Okay, awesome. I thought that was wonderful, but I super want to say, I'm so thankful to be here, because the same way you feel about me, I feel about you. I've been watching your journey, seeing you guys grow, seeing the brand grow, so just being here is like a huge blessing, and like I said earlier, I feel so inspired. This is great.
Wow.
Yeah.
You are amazing. So
thank you.
I love it. Yes, before I'm getting into the formal introduction, but me and you met maybe in 2017, 2016. It might have been like 2017-ish, I think. You were doing an interview.
I was doing interviews for my first business called Leap of Faith, ATL. And that was really, I don't want to say selfishly for me. I wanted it to grow into something for the community, but at the time it just started off like, I want to be inspired. I knew that I wanted to take a leap of faith at the time, and I took a leap of faith, but I was having a hard time going on YouTube, finding testimonies, because I don't know about you. You seem very determined, but sometimes for me, I need a little bit of a push. I need to hear the good, the bad. I can be very logical. So I wanted to see that advice, and I was like, okay, I'm not seeing it anywhere, so why not create that for my community? Because surely I can't be the only one in the world who wants to take a leap of faith, and I can't be the only one who needs inspiration. So,
well, girl, you might need to bring that back in the form of a podcast.
From your lips to God's ears.
Hello. because
Yeah.
I don't know if podcasts were popping during that time or, you know, if
Right.
we were really on them, but that might be a podcast idea. Real quick, let me do your formal introduction and then let's
Okay.
get into this. Okay, so this is Courtney Jones. She's the founder of the Curl Conqueror based out of Stone Mountain, Georgia. So if you're local, look her up and go ahead and book you an appointment, okay?
Thank you.
In 2019, she took a leap of faith and launched the Curl Conqueror, a salon dedicated to empowering people to embrace and care for their natural hair. That leap was grounded in mustard seed faith, inspired by Matthew 17:20, believing that even the smallest amount of faith can move mountains. The Curl Conqueror is more than a salon. It's a testament to faith, dedication, and the beauty of natural hair. That was beautiful. So welcome.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
No problem. Thank you for
Yes.
being here. So let's go ahead and jump into it because I see that, like, even when I can, hold on. First, let me back it up. So when I went to her salon for one, and the experience that I had going to her salon, because I think it kind of like bridges into what I want to ask you first and foremost. So
Sure.
when I went to her salon, I had shout out to Jade because you said Jade had
Yes.
just was helping you before you came here. But Jade has always shown like her getting her curly hair done.
Yeah.
And I don't think you weren't doing the Curl Conqueror method when I first met you.
Yeah, I was just
But your hair
doing
was
natural
curly.
hair, traveling to people's homes. I think I was just about to go to cosmetology school a couple months after that, but I had just taken the leap of faith. I left college and I was like, okay, well, I thought that I was going to be able to start cosmetology school like within the next 6 weeks. That didn't happen. So I was like, let me make good use of this time. Let me fulfill my own, like, you know, I don't even know what to call it, but I felt like I needed that during that time. So it was perfect. Yeah.
That was perfect. Okay, so
Yeah.
yes, her hair has always been popping.
Thank you.
The curls have always been popping. So yes, when I went to her salon, nice, quaint salon. It's very like intimate for the most part.
Right.
And then I got like this steam hydration. You know, there was snacks. It was just a very relaxing experience. It truly felt like
you.
I was taking some time out to like self-care and to take care of myself and to get my hair done and come out looking oh so cute at
I
the
loved
end.
it.
Like you said, you gotta be acting brand new when you get
It's
those
the rule, you guys.
curls.
When you come to get conquered, that's the only thing we ask is that you act brand new. Other than that, do you, right?
Do you, girl?
Yeah.
I was acting brand new.
I love that.
So I truly appreciated that. In my journey of even going to the hair salons, I was telling Courtney that I had never really experienced, you know, being offered even snacks and
Yeah.
drinks, like while I'm sitting underneath the dryer or something like that. You know, there's always like a vending machine or something where you have to like buy the things, but for them to be like complimentary within the experience truly makes the experience. So I truly appreciated that. So if you guys ever
Aw,
go check her
yeah.
out, just know that that is what you are going to get. And then at the end of it, she gives you like a little maintenance sheet. So we'll go into maintenance later. But then she
Okay.
also gives you a little packet of mustard seeds.
Yes.
So this seems to be a theme for you. I know that your colors in there were like yellow and black. You had the mustard seeds and leap of faith. Let's hear about, because you say you had a business first called
Yes.
Leap of Faith. Where does this come from?
So leap of faith or the Curl Conqueror in
Your
general?
inspiration with this leap of faith. I see that there's this theme.
So I grew up in the church, but I feel like when you become an adult, and when I say adult, I mean 18 years old, right? Because at that time, I was definitely acting brand new, feeling myself. So I feel like when I became an adult, it was really up to me to figure out what that lifestyle looks like with God. Like nobody's forcing me to go to church. Nobody's saying turn on the Zoom, turn on the live stream. And that was really that time for me. And I was in school for business, but I knew I always wanted to own a business, but that was very vague. I didn't know what that was going to look like. Growing up, I knew that I always wanted to own a salon, but that was it. I knew that I was always passionate about hair, but I was like, I just want to be behind the scenes. I just want to manage. That's it. I can do some accounting, all of that. And I remember, and I'm smiling as I'm saying this because now I feel more grounded. Younger Court would just, put so much on her plate. So I was an RA in college. I was taking 5 classes. I also worked at the YMCA, also doing hair in the dorm. So I was doing the most, but not in a good way.
Right.
Yeah. So,
like burnout.
Exactly. So I was burning myself out. And I remember I was in my intro to accounting class. And every day she would give us a pop quiz and I would just start crying. And I was just like, I cannot do this. I cannot do this. I cannot do this. I was always in tutorial. I was calling my brother, who he kind of minored in business. His degree is in economics. So I was like, he can help me, and just trying to find all these resources to succeed. And I was like, does success have to look like this? I want to do something that I'm really passionate about, something that brings me joy, something that I'm not crying when I see it. And I just knew accounting was not it.
Damn.
So I was just like, okay. So I remember praying, and I was like, I'm watching church online. I want to start going to a church out in Gwinnett. I went to GGC. And when I tell you, and I'm sure you know this, when you ask for something, you will receive. So
it's power in the tongue.
Yes. So that day, like, people on campus were passing out these cards, and I'm a pretty, like, happy-go-lucky person. So if you hand me something, I'll just say thank you so much. If you want to have a conversation with me, I'm down. So I'm not one of those people that are gonna, like, just ignore you and keep walking. I'm gonna stop and listen. So they would give it to me, and I'd just be like, thank you, put it at the bottom of my bag, like, just keep walking, even though I was asking for this. And then my classmate was like, hey, you know what, have you thought about, and I was also working at Starbucks on campus. So she was like, have you thought about coming to my church? And I was like, what church do you go to? And she told me, and it was the same card that I got earlier. Wow. And then I was like, okay, I'll come. And I didn't think too much about it. Then I went to work at Starbucks, and I got another card, and I was like, okay. So I'm praying about, like, my next steps in between those days, between going to church and class and all of that. And I was just like, God, like, I want to do hair, but I would have been the only person in my family who did not go to college, like, or did not finish my degree. And I was like, okay, Oprah did it. Jay-Z, like, just naming all. Taryn did, Quentin did it, right? But I didn't know of a Taryn and Quentin at the time. So I was just like, okay, like, maybe these people are just an anomaly. Like, maybe they're lucky. I didn't feel like it was something that I could do. So I ended up going to church, and the first song as I walked in that they played was I'm No Longer a Slave to Fear, I'm a Child of God.
Oh, wow.
And I just remember, I was telling you earlier that I'm a crybaby now. My tear ducts are maturing, so I just remember, like, bawling, and I've never cried in church before or anything like that. And I was just like, okay. So I think in a matter of weeks, I mustered up the courage to tell my mom, and she was like, okay. And I was like, I've been stressing over nothing, like... And she was just like, okay, well, finish the semester first. Like, don't just leave today. Finish the semester, and, we'll work it out. And I was like, okay, great, because I've already been going on the tours of the cosmetology schools. Like, I know what school I want to go to. I know what I don't like about this. I was looking up questions, and this is prior to ChatGPT. I was, like, grilling them with questions. They were like, I've never had anybody ask me this many questions.
What was this, the cosmetology school?
Yeah, so I was going to Aveda, Paul Mitchell, and they do interviews before you actually go there. And a lot of the times, and I'm sure you can imagine hiring people here, you're, as the employer or as the person looking for somebody to enroll, you're asking a bulk of the questions, but I had at least 50 questions for them.
But I also love how you were saying that you had this feeling like, okay, well, I'm going to stop going to college, but I still hear that you still went and had to go receive an education so that you could further do what you want to do. And I've always been big on that. Like, even me, even though I dropped out of college myself, like, I still have taken formulation courses. I take courses around my business. So I'm taking courses now. So it's always a matter of, like, it's just you learning the knowledge that you want to learn. Like, accounting might have been something that was like, when we grow up, it's like, be a lawyer, be a doctor, be an accountant, maybe be an engineer nowadays.
Stressful.
But if your path, I guess, was like something a little different. You just kind of felt like a little like, is this for me? Also, I wanted to mention, you were all along receiving these signs, but it took, like, certain steps for you to actually, like, pay attention to them and to go on it. But like you said, you were getting these cards all along.
But I didn't feel like it. Like I said, I was asking for it, but I was still blind. Like, I think I was maybe in denial, because you can ask for something, and obviously if you ask, you want it, but I don't know. I think somebody told me the same time, like, they were like, I've asked for things, and then when I got it, I almost wanted it to fall through, because I was so anxious. Like, can I really be a good steward of this gift? And fear. That's the word.
Talking
fear.
yourself up out of it.
Yeah. So I feel like experience has been the best teacher, and that has taught me to like conquer those fears. And I still, as an entrepreneur today, I still get fearful. I don't feel like I've arrived. I'm still continuing my education, be it just behind the chair, continuing education outside of the salon. I'm always open to learning, like always.
The beautiful thing about your journey is that you don't ever really arrive. You know, it's a journey.
Right.
Once you arrive, it's like you're there, and it's like,
You're
what
stagnant.
else? Right. You want to
Yeah.
continue to always pursue and continue to elevate in whatever it is that you want to do. So, okay, so I hear pretty much like you were going to school, and essentially this was a leap of faith for you, because
Right.
for you it felt like, I guess, that school was going to be your only way, or college was going to be your only way
Yeah.
to be successful in the way that you wanted to be.
Right.
So you were like, okay, but you have this other calling that kept calling to you. And one thing about a calling is that it will continue to show up on you. It'll
Yes.
continue to find its way to send you signs, or, come up in your face like, here, this is what
Right.
you need to be doing.
Exactly.
Because that's when your purpose is calling, you have to walk in that. And you
Right.
won't feel fulfilled until you're in your purpose.
I agree.
So you
I
took
agree.
that leap out on faith. All right, so you said Matthew 7:14?
Matthew 17:20.
Said Matthew 17:20.
Yes.
What does Matthew 17:20 say?
Okay, I want to read it verbatim
Okay.
because I feel like most people, I can summarize something, but I want to give you the full scripture. So it says, because you have so little faith, truly I tell you, if you have faith as small as a mustard seed, you can say to this mountain, move from here, and it will move. So a lot of the times we're like, I can't speak to a mountain, but we speak to mountains every day. And I think a lot of the times when we talk about faith, we're like, oh, you're perfect, you have so much belief, it's gonna work out. No, like every leap of faith is different. Like my leap of faith from leaving school to become a cosmetologist, that was one leap of faith, and you would have been like, oh, you know what it is to leap. No, every day, every situation that comes up is different. Like I still get butterflies in my stomach when I have to apply faith to a situation. So,
And as you should, because I think on one end, when you take a leap, for when even though you might be able to see the ground or you don't know what you're jumping into sometimes.
Right.
And you talking about the leap of faith actually reminded me, this is kind of random.
Okay.
I don't know, do you watch that show? And I don't know if I asked you this when I got my hair done. Do you watch the show Pop the Balloon?
I've seen the episodes,
You
yes.
seen it? Okay, so I think I want to say it's from Pop the Balloon, but this guy recently asked his, the lineup, what does faith look like to you?
Ooh,
and so everybody
okay.
gave their answers, but and most of them said around the same thing. But one girl did mention that faith looks like trust.
Yeah.
It looks like trust, and trusting and knowing that it's gonna work out for you. Taking that leap of faith and knowing that no matter what it is that you do, that you have that power. And again, like you said, with the scripture speaking to the mountain, claim it. I
Yeah.
put that in I said that in my last episode. I don't know if you've heard the song Encourage Yourself.
Yes.
That is my song, but it says you have to speak victory
Yes.
over your test. Like you have to speak and claim your
Yeah.
power. So that's pretty much what it sounds like, that you've done with this leap of faith. And then Matthew
17:20, yeah.
17:20. What made you resonate with Matthew 17:20? Was it while you were at church, or?
You know what? It wasn't. So a little backstory about my name. I was driving to school. I can't remember if I was driving to school or driving to work, and I wasn't as active as I was on Instagram as I am now. But I was driving, and I felt God say, change your name to the Curl Conqueror. And that was back, I don't know if you remember, when you would change your name, somebody would take your name. And I was slow to social media initially. Like my friends had to encourage me to get it, and I just really did it to keep up with them. And I was like, I'm not changing my name. Like, I love my Instagram name. It was Meet Me at the Court. I thought it was so cool, like just so brilliant, but no. And then I started doing hair, and people were like, oh, well, do you want to be a lawyer? Do you play basketball? And I was like, neither. And
Honestly, that's what I'm like, meet me at the court. I'm like, are we talking lawyer? And then those were honestly the two things that I thought about. Wow.
Right, and nothing that symbolized anything that I, believed in or anything like that. So I was like, okay, I didn't even call it a leap of faith then, but I was like, okay, I'll do it. And I forgot about it that night. I was like, I'm just going to do it for about 2 hours, and then I'll change it back. Like, I'm just going to be obedient, right? I fell asleep. I went to work the next day, and everybody was like, ooh, I love your Instagram name. I love it. And I was like, thank you. And the rest was history. And not knowing, like, I didn't tell them that, I thought about not using it or being disobedient. But, sometimes you just got to listen.
You do. And you know what's interesting?
Yeah.
Because I think when I first met you, of course, you weren't doing the Curl Conqueror, so that was not your name.
Yeah.
And again, I would see Jade post saying she was going to the Curl Conqueror. So I'm looking, and the Curl Conqueror has a nice ring to it.
Thank you.
So I would see the name, the Curl Conqueror, and then I think at one point I went to the page and saw that it was you. I'm like, it's Courtney.
You're
so
like, I know her. Yeah. And I make a lot of Instagram names, and I know it's not equivalent to trademarking or creating a LLC, but anytime I have an idea, I just make an Instagram page. Yeah, so I have 8. I don't remember the passwords, but I have a couple Instagram pages. So.
Okay, all right, cool. So before we go back into deeper with the Curl Conqueror Salon,
Okay.
I want to dive into just your natural hair journey, because has curly hair always been a thing for you per se? Like, were you born with curls?
I can't say I woke up like this, but I can say that I had a mom who was really adamant about me having natural hair. So growing up, my mom had locks. And, I thought that it was beautiful for her.
Wow,
but
your mom had locks. Does she still have locks?
she just restarted her second set.
So
it's
she's
coming
always
full
been a natural
circle.
girly?
She's always been
Shout out to
natural.
Mom.
At least my knowing her. She's been natural. But she was always a huge advocate for me having natural hair, and at the time I didn't appreciate it because I was like, this isn't beautiful. All my peers had straight long hair, and she was really she was always saying, you'll learn to appreciate it later, you're gonna be thankful. And I was like, are you evil? I know my mom's not evil, but I just felt like, oh my gosh, why would you do this to me? Why me? And I think that's where that wanting to know how to do hair and teaching myself how to do hair came from, because I just wanted to feel beautiful in society standards. So I started off braiding hair, and I started doing my own hair. Then I started doing my mom's hair, my community's hair, like my neighbors and stuff like that. And anytime, this is prior to YouTube, so anytime I didn't know how to do something, they would say, hey, do you know how to retwist locks? And I'd always be honest. I would say no, and they say, well, do you want to try? And I say yes. And some of them are still my clients today, so I'm thankful because I can't say, looking back at my work, that it was always as good as what you see on Instagram and social media now. I think that it's just them believing in me. So I'm so appreciative of my mom. I'm so appreciative of my community, which I call my curl community now, because they have been the conduit to getting me to where I am now. Yeah.
So that's interesting what you said. That's so deep. Even with me having a skincare brand and us being a Black-owned business in general, it's just so important to us to show representation of ourselves and in our natural state. And even when a lot of women even come on this podcast, just us having natural hair. Both me and you have natural hair. But shout out to your mom for impressing that on you as her daughter, because even me being a mom to a daughter, I always think what kind of example do I want to set for Eden, and that's so important. That shapes you even as an adult or as a young adult, and later on in your life, and if you become a mom and have children, that shapes you, and even in your community and how you do your work within the community. And so your mom, she just, even you talk about the leap of faith, but your mom had faith. She knew that you embracing your natural hair was the way that you needed to be. And again, you said something. You said when she wanted you to embrace your natural hair and have the curly hair, you said that's not beauty.
Yeah,
that's not beautiful, because
I thought it was horrible.
Growing up though. How old are you? I'm
29.
29. Yeah. So we're about the same age. I'm 33. We're about 4 years. So we grew up in the 90s essentially, where beauty was not defined by natural hair. And Quentin always talks about Lauryn Hill. He's like, well, Lauryn Hill only had one song and this, that, next. And I said, I understand that you're saying she only has one album and she only has these songs. I said, but you're missing the point that she was actually this icon for natural beauty.
Yeah.
When she came along with the locks and was out here singing the songs, Erykah Badu was coming out here with the head wrap. India Arie was coming out with the I Am Not My Hair song, and I'm Not Your Average Girl in the video. We needed that.
We did.
We needed that.
And even though I don't think those songs are still as popular as they deserve to be,
true.
But everybody's heard them, right? So those are seeds that have been planted. So even if somebody starts their natural hair journey today in 2025, they can still reach back and say, okay, somebody went before me and they believed in this journey, and if they had the courage to do it, if they had the confidence to do it, surely I can too.
Wow.
Yeah.
So how was it for you growing up, like managing your natural hair?
It was hard. Like, I come from a time when you went to a salon and you had natural hair, you get charged extra.
I never knew that because I didn't have natural hair growing up. So.
Yeah, they would be like, "Ooh, your hair is natural," and it's like, well, how do you know that my hair isn't fine? How do you know that my hair isn't this texture, that it's quote unquote manageable, that is easy to do? And I think there was just this label of, if you have natural hair, it's this, it's that, it's difficult, it's a muscle builder, it's this,
it's a muscle builder because why? Because you got to do it and it's extra.
Yeah, and you gotta, it's toning your arms, and I think that's a misconception. And if I could go back and tell those stylists then, and I didn't go to the salon a lot. Like, a lot of the times, if I were to go to a salon, it was to get my hair braided and for special occasions, right? Like, if I had a graduation, and that's something too. Like, I want people to know that this is graduation hair. This is
corporate hair,
all of that. So I think times have definitely changed, but if I could go back and advocate for myself then, oh my gosh, I would have a mouthful to say.
Right. Wow.
Yeah.
I mean, thankfully we're here now, and of course, like for next generations, we can emphasize on, how. And there's this movement now, they call it the natural hair movement.
And I love it.
I love it too, where we're all
Yeah.
just embracing our natural hair. And even for me, like literally, like you said, when you turn 18, you get grown. I cut my hair when I was 19. Like I had grew up. My mom gave me a sew-in when I was 3.
Wow.
She always talked about how I had a sew-in since I was 3.
Yeah.
And I was like, that should be a form of child abuse, but that's neither here or there.
We listen and we don't judge.
Because
Yes.
why am I having a sew-in? I don't know.
Yeah.
But instead of just like you said, I guess it was always looked at like, okay, this is like a muscle builder. I don't want to have to deal with this nappy hair or this kinky hair and have to do this. It's just better to straighten it, or it's better to just put a sew-in in it. Or I mean, and braids are cool too. Braids are a part of like being a black girl.
Right. And you said something, and it made me think about, you said that my mom planted seeds, and I feel like my peers' parents planted seeds. So their feelings about natural hair trickled onto into their kids, and their kids would articulate that, whereas an adult, they'll just let you play around. They may think it, but a child is going to say it. So I think that played a part too, just like my peers saying different things about my natural hair.
What kind of things were they saying?
Like, I remember big chopping in 9th grade. Like, I've always done the most with my hair, which I think led to a big chop, even though I was natural. I had a texturizer once, but that's another story for another time. But they would be like, "Oh, well, you look like a boy. Are you going through something?" And these were like people, not that I had a great relationship with them, but I felt like we had an amicable relationship. I could say hello and stuff like that. And not to be like braggadocious, some of those same people are trying to book appointments now.
Wow.
And I don't have any animosity or anything, because I feel like people learn at different times, and I'm happy that they did learn, because I feel like had it been someone else, they could have took it and wrote a rap about it, or something like that. And I don't come from a place of hate or malice or anything like that. Like, I always want to give off love. And now, had that happened to me now, I feel like that would have been a great time to advocate for myself again and just say, hey, you know what? This is my journey. And everybody's journey looks differently. Like, I chose to do this. So, yeah.
And honestly, looking back on it now, you were daring to be different, and it wasn't even thanks to your mom, for one, who started that and planted that seed again, like you said, that you were daring to be different in a time, especially when we went to school. School is hard, you're caring about the opinions of others during that time. So to be different during that time, I know even when I met Quentin, that was one of my most favorite things that I loved about Quentin, was that he was different. He marched to the beat of his own drum, wasn't doing what other people said. So you still continued that no matter what, even when people were talking bad about you or anything like that, but you continue to still be a light. And look at you now.
Thank you.
The girl got a Curl Conqueror Salon.
Thank you.
How did you, I know you say you went to cosmetology school. So when you went to cosmetology school, you went there knowing like, okay, I'm going to have a salon. And how long was that journey?
So cosmetology school for me, I went to a technical school, but because I went to college prior, I didn't have to do a lot of the coursework before, because if you go to a technical school, they make you do, they've changed it, I think starting this year or last year, but you had to do English 1101. You had to do psychology, the core classes, but I had already taken those. So I went to cosmetology school for a year, and then I worked in different salons, and that was really cool because, and that's something like I tell anybody who's starting out in the beauty industry, work under somebody, because for me in cosmetology school, natural hair was maybe like a day. I feel
in the course, because that's what I was about to ask too.
Yeah.
Like, were y'all focusing solely on natural hair?
No,
And did you look for schools that might have done that? Or
that
no?
wasn't in my questioning.
Yeah, okay,
I think it was very. I think it was just what I learned from doing these interviews is that they all have the same education. It's up to you to do the continuing education. So my school didn't focus a lot on that, but this, like, I'm on the board now at my cosmetology school, and thank you. I think it's important to reach back and say this is what our students need for the industry and all of that. But now they do have an emphasis on natural hair, and I love that. I remember in cosmetology school, all the natural hair clients would come to me, and I did a relaxer. It didn't take, so I really don't feel like that was my lane. So, yeah.
Okay, all right. So, boom. So, how did you start a salon?
Okay, it wasn't overnight. I want to say that because I feel like we live in such an instant success type of world, or at least that's what it gives. But it wasn't overnight. I worked in different salons, and then I decided to take another leap of faith. I don't know if I told you, I went back to school. And in the middle of class, I had never heard God audibly talk to me. And he said, basically, I'll summarize it, take the leap of faith to start your own salon today. And I was like, what? And he said it again. And
why did you feel that you needed to start your own salon, even though you were working at this?
It wasn't start my own salon. He told me to leave where I was at. And I interpreted that as starting my own. So, or just doing my own thing. So I was like, I don't know where I'm going to go. And my mom, she was just like, you have one more month left of school. Like, just, you can start fresh after that. And I was like, no, God told me.
Like, so I got to act now.
Right. And she was like, just focus. Like, just, and she's my number one supporter, but I think she just wanted me to finish what I started.
Right.
I had one more month. So I think I know she had my best interest at heart. But, so I found a booth to rent on Memorial Drive. And initially, I maybe had like 3 consistent clients. And that's, looking back, that was crazy. I didn't have a savings.
The leap of faith will have you looking crazy, child. You're like, I'm going to go out here anyways.
That was the definition of mustard, like mustard seed faith. So I started doing that, and then I promise you, within 2 weeks, it took off. Really? I can't really place a date on it, but it took off. And I remember I was still in school, so I was off on, I think, 2 days a week, and I started doing hair on Sundays and Mondays because those were days I didn't have classes. I would just go after church, and but those days weren't getting booked. So about 2 months later, I was like, okay, all these other days are getting booked. Maybe I should condense my hours. And my aunt said, just finish the month out. And I said, okay. And I said, you know what? I don't take walk-ins, but if somebody books, I'll be here. And all of a sudden it took off because I would start getting unconventional workers, entrepreneurs, nurses, people who wanted to spend time with their kids on the weekends, or someone who took an extended weekend at their job. And now, like, all of our days are pretty booked, unless somebody cancels or something like that. And even those get booked up.
It was real hard.
Yes. And a lot of people say that too, but that was my prayer. Like, when I took the leap of faith,
booked and busy.
It was to be booked and busy. And God, like, he blew my mind and then some, because ever since then, like, it just, I don't know how to articulate it. It took off before my eyes. And this is somebody who was scared to tell their mom, scared to go to cosmetology school, scared. Like, that's really my testimony, is being scared, being fearful, but also applying that faith. But
So people that know how to do their own hair are truly talented, because me, when I say I even having short hair, like putting some product in my hair, like when my arms start hurting this stuff, I'm like, I'm over this. I don't want to do this. I'm immediately like going to somebody else to do my hair. Even when I had locks, like I would go to somebody else and do my locks, because I mean I know how to do my own locks, but I always get like self-conscious too, because like I can't see in the back, I can't see on the side, and I can't see up at the top, and I'm not doing all this extra stuff. So for you, like doing your own hair, how is that?
I really like it, and I'm laughing because one of my stylists, Zaria, she says the back of my hair is not my business. So I think you should.
She says that for herself, like that.
Yeah, she's like that, but it always looks good.
Okay.
So I think you said, how is it like doing my own hair? I love it. It's really therapeutic for me. That's always been my self-care, doing my own hair. That's my time to think. That's my time to reflect on the week. So I love doing my own hair. Now, like I remember when I was doing my own hair growing up, I didn't have a mirror, like a handheld mirror, and was looking in the back. So that was probably my first leap of faith, doing the back of my hair. But I love it.
You love it?
I love it. Yeah.
Okay. All right. So let's talk about this Curl Conqueror method. When you first started, I guess when you first started your salon, were you called the Curl Conqueror even then? And did you have the Curl Conqueror method even from the beginning of your salon?
No. So when I was doing hair on Memorial Drive, renting a booth, I was just calling it the Curl Conquering method, and it took off. Like people were coming. I think the furthest at the time I had somebody travel was from Bermuda when I was just renting a booth. And I was like, okay, this is something. So right before the pandemic, I decided to trademark it, because what was happening was people were coming out with a product, and I was still logoing my work, but they would Photoshop my logo off, and they would put it on their website, or it would be on this website or that website. So I was like, this is something really, really serious. And I feel like I have something good. So I decided to invest, and I decided to trademark it. And it's crazy because I don't know if I can share this. I'll share it. I'll take a leap of faith. When I started the salon, like my actual building of the salon, moving in there, someone offered to buy my name.
The Curl Conqueror?
Yes.
Oh, wow,
and it's like I always believed in it, but that made me feel like, wow. Like,
so somebody wants to buy this.
Yes.
But that's how you know that you're sitting on like some gold. Like,
yeah, I felt honored, but I was still like.
So you have the name, the Curl Conqueror trademark.
Yes, and
so
anything within the likelihood. Yes. So.
When did you get that trademark?
Probably 2020.
That's dope too, because I mean,
you
know, honestly, like doing curls is not something that's new, and even for me, like making soap is not something that's new.
Right.
But you know, putting curls in your hair is not something that's new. So to be like, okay, well, I'm gonna have the I'm gonna be the Curl Conqueror. I'm gonna have the Curl Conqueror method, and I'm trademarking it. And I think that is smart too, because you have these many things where curls is its own lane. It's its own industry. You know, as a lot of black women, we're navigating curls. I mean, we're not the only people with curls, but still, as black women, we had to really like learn to embrace our curls and learn how to work with our curls and things like that. So as you know, there's many different names with curl or something, and products with the name curl. So to think to trademark that early was spot on, because you like, this is all me, baby. I'm not sharing this with nobody.
I felt like so proud, and just looking back, it could have been Meet Me at the Court. So I'd rather it be something that other people and thank you. And I'm told that all the time, and I just smile, because had I not been obedient, maybe the name wouldn't have been as catchy. Maybe it wouldn't have brought me the followers or the supporters or the curl community. So I'm thankful.
Okay.
Yeah.
So what is the Curl Conqueror method? What is that?
So the Curl Conquering method, the best thing that I can compare it to is probably a wash and go. And I should, maybe I shouldn't say compare it to, but a wash and go, it's a beautiful style. It's going to last you about 3 to 5 days, maybe 7 days, and it's going to yield instant volume. Right? The Curl Conquering method is a technique that I trademarked, and it starts off super defined. It can last you up to 2 weeks. Some of my clients even say a month, 5 weeks. It just depends on their lifestyle and how
if you're not working out,
you know, and drench. Everybody's sweat level is different. But yeah, so it lasts them super long, and I think it's a belief style, right? Because a lot of people, they see the Instagram, or they'll come and they're taking a leap of faith. They're like, I know my hair won't do this. I'll have to pivot. But once they see their hair can do it, boom, I have a believer.
Wow.
So that's my main goal every day, is to tell people that your hair can do this. You can do this. Maybe not the technique, but you can do this natural hair journey. So I feel like if I made somebody a believer, my job is done.
I know when you were doing my hair, I seen you were doing like the finger coils, and already like a couple of weeks prior to that, I think I tried to do some finger coils on my own hair.
Yeah.
They were definitely not as like small and defined as what you were doing, because again, I don't have the patience. I would not be sitting up there doing that. Like, it seemed like you were taking like the smallest strands of hair and just like finger coiling them, and I was just like, girl, like, this is why I gotta come get my hair done, because I'm definitely not doing it. Do you do that to your own hair though? Like, are you doing that defined finger? And I guess there are people doing it, because when I look at curl products, and they'll tell you like, okay, well, you know, put the product on your hand and then go through your hair while it's wet and do the finger curls, and I'm like, this is what everybody's supposed to do? Like, you really supposed to go through and do this? Like, this is a lot.
But I think it's one of those things too, like, everybody has their ministry. Like, I don't think, as good as it smells, I don't think I could sit here and make soap. Like, I think that it's amazing. I think that I love the products, but I don't think that I would have the discipline to.
Everything is not, or even like if you people who like to cook or something, if you don't like to cook, it's like,
exactly,
that's not for me.
And maybe it's not for me this season. Maybe the next time I come on the podcast, I'll be like, Taryn, I tried to make some soap, but
nah, girl, it's still a work. It's a work, and it's patience. So you worked on the faith part. You had to work on the patience part with making soap. That was my theme of making soap, was patience.
And you're great at it.
Thank you. I appreciate that. So, okay, for us even just talking about natural hair, like, my biggest thing too is like, I guess you have some people whose hair is just like naturally curly. So is the Curl Conqueror method, is it for people's hair who is naturally curly?
So my hair, you guys, is not naturally curly.
It's not. It look natural.
It's not. I wish I could say, I mean, I did wake up like this because I did it yesterday, but naturally my hair is not curly. Like, I know a lot of people, when the water hits it, they can see a little bit of the wave. That's not me. So I don't believe in hair typing, because I believe that, you know, as women or as individuals, we go through so much. Our hormones can change.
That's true.
Stress can impact it. We can be on different medicine. And then just genetically. Some people say the front of my hair, that's my mom's texture. The back, that's my great-grandfather. So we have a mix of everything. Emotions, stress, medicine, diet, all of that plays an impact. So I feel like if you're even thinking, can my hair can do this, read the service description and take a leap of faith. Yeah.
That's interesting too that you say that, because I always tell people, even when I do like my Taryn talks or anything like that, like when it comes to skin, I know that there's these skin types in general, and there are people who are more prone to have different skin types. But what I found is mostly for a lot of people is that, like, even our skin changes with the seasons.
Yeah.
So like you said, like even in, like, say for instance, like in the winter, your skin could probably be more dry, and your hair could actually probably be more dry during that time.
We call it dry hair season.
Oh, yes.
So just like our skin is more susceptible to being dry maybe in the winter time, our hair is too. So sometimes we have to take those extra measures to balance it out, or to get it even seemingly close to what it has been in the past.
The hair, that's why I mentioned before when we first started, like, hair, skin, and nails are truly related. I want to say that they're part of the same body system. Don't get me on here and saying the wrong thing, but I don't even know how to say the name. I think it's the augmentatory system or something like that, but it's all related. And again, we do have to pay attention to, like, the outside factors, or like you said, even medicine that you're taking, your diet.
Water, like Georgia, we're known for hard water.
In the shower.
Right. So if we're shampooing our hair at home, most people don't have a filter. So that plays a part in our hair too. So sometimes people can be like, oh, my hair is dry. Sometimes it can just appear to be dry. And it just needs to solidify its foundation, or we need to work on the foundation together to get it to where it needs to be.
I know what you mean when you say that, you know, different parts of your hair can have different textures. I know for me, in general, like my back part right here, and I don't know if it's because it's it's softer. It's a little bit more fine. And even when my curls actually started to like become more loose, like that part became super super loose because it's more fine. Like if I'm sweating back there, it's like, girl, we're just gone. The other part, like everything else is a little bit more like tight knit, and it was like, so even my curls, like even when I got my curls done, I think it's been about 3 or 4 weeks now at this point. But like my curls are a little bit more still intact up here, but around the sides, baby, it was gone. It was like, I'm done.
I love that. But at least you know they played their part, so I can appreciate that.
Okay. So, what makes the curl conquering method different than even just going to the natural salon? Because I know even for me, like I was looking up like natural hairstylists, and that's particularly what I wanted was like, because I have short hair, I wanted my hair to be curly. But what makes the curl conquering method different?
I think it's an experience. I think like you talked about, from the moment you come in the door, like not only are you happy, your hair is happy. So I think that's a part of it as well. But I feel like it looks a lot different than the average natural hairstyles you have. And we offer those too. We offer the flexi rods, the 2-strand twist. Yes. We don't do finger coils or comb coils. Those are a different look, equally as beautiful.
So you said the finger coils and the comb coils are different.
So when you think about a finger coil, you think about something more rounded and ovally and a lot more hair on that strand.
So you're not doing a finger coil?
Not a finger coil, yeah, but it probably feels like it from the back. But and then when you think about a comb coil, what I think about when I think about comb coils is probably like a starter lock, starting the foundation of that. Right. Yes. And again, a beautiful style, but I'm biased. The curl conquering method is my favorite style. Yes.
Okay, so you're like, it's not the finger coil method and it's not a comb coil method.
Yes.
Okay, so you like, so what kind of products are good essentially for women for women like me, or I mean women like me honestly, like who aren't really familiar with products, curly hair?
What I would say, I'm not really heavy on recommending products until I come out with my own one day.
Understood.
But what I say to people is don't give up on what you are using, because a lot of the times we give up and we don't give that product a fair chance.
Products.
You have your own beauty supply, right?
Well, like you said, I got my own beauty supply at the house. I got a lot.
A lot of people, right? When you open up that cabinet, there's something for everything. And when you look at those containers, they're not used a lot because they tried it, didn't like it, they gave up on it, right? So a lot of the times I tell people, if your foundation is good, and when I say foundation, is your hair hydrated? Are your ends clean? Do you have a nice shape? Because if you have a nice shape, you can wear an afro and it's still popping, right? Or your curls can be fading and it still looks really, really good. If you have a good foundation, your hair should be able to withstand anything. Sometimes it's how we're using the products. Are we brushing the product through? And I think that's what I love about social media. So many cool product creators, they're showing the examples, they're showing the tutorials behind it, so you're not just saying, oh, this product flopped. No, let me show you how to use it, and that's something I hope to do one day too. So,
girl, yes, go ahead and come out with your own products, because I know
it's my
at
first
the
time
end,
speaking about it.
You need to, you gotta come out with your, and that's why we have this platform too, so that you can speak about that. I know that this is something that you're passionate about, and for me personally, and even Quentin, he's always big on like if you're doing a service in some way. So like even as a hairstylist or something, a hairstylist is always using different products. But if you know what you're looking for in the outcome, like for your clients essentially, and you know what hair needs, it's like, girl, come on out with the products and get us together. So if you were to come out, and no, you're going to come out with products. When you come out with products, what would they essentially be? Because I know there's like curling jelly, there's like spray. Like, what would you do?
I can't speak much about it, but what I can say,
it doesn't have to be verbatim, but like, would it be like a
they would be stylers. They would be stylers, and they would be things that would last and that would be easy to use, because sometimes I've tested a lot of products. I test a lot of products behind the scenes for different brands and friends who are coming out with brands and mentors and stuff like that. Sometimes the products are intimidating by the title, or they say it's only used for this, so then you feel like you made a mistake. I want them to be easy to use, easy to comprehend, and I want the education to go with it.
Yeah,
so
nice.
yeah,
We definitely need the education, especially like somebody like me. I don't know too much about hair, other than what's on my head. I don't know too much about different people's hair textures and hairstyles. So something that's easy and manageable for sure is exactly what we need. Okay, what would be some like natural hair care tips that you give to people with curly hair?
I would say trial and error. Like, there's nothing wrong with trying it yourself. I'm not one of those stylists that are like, you're not supposed to do this, you're not supposed to do that. What I would do is try to tweak your routine so that you feel equipped to do it at home. So if I can tweak your routine by saying, hey, come back for a trim every 6 to 8 weeks. Like I said, I hate to be verbatim, but I'm really big on foundation. So if you feel like, oh, 2-strand twister, not for me. Why do you feel like 2-strand twister, not for you? Have you had a trim? Because that changes the whole look and feel of a 2-strand twist. So I would say definitely not being afraid to articulate your concerns to a stylist if and when you do go to one. And even if you're not going into the salon for a style, even during a consultation, to say, hey, am I on the right path? Does my hair have a good foundation? Because like you said, a lot of the times, this is all we see from the ear forward. So if we can't see the back of our hair, we don't know if it has breakage. And a lot of the times, if we can't see it, we're not as kind to it. Even think about a silk press. We put that emphasis on the front. That's where the feathers are. That's the area we're touching up. So we're a lot kinder to that area. So don't be afraid to involve somebody in your journey or on your journey, because we can do this hand on hand. We can conquer it together. You don't have to do it alone. So
that's good. We can conquer this together.
Yes.
Come on, what a word, conqueror. She's more than a conqueror.
Yes.
So that also just I want to kind of dive a little bit deeper into the natural hair care realm. Just because for us as Black women, I know that a lot of us found out that like relaxers were the things that were like causing cancer, or a lot of fertility issues and different things like that. So what is your take? I know that you specialize in natural hair care. What is your take on like natural hair care products, and like what are some of the natural ingredients that you like to see in products, like an aloe or something like that?
I think that's definitely important, but I think, how can I say this? It's a safe place, right? Okay, so I feel like, yes, I'm a vegetarian, right? So, of course, I like everything to be as natural as possible. Everything that I eat, I try not to do the processed meats or the imitation meats and stuff like that. But I feel like with hair care, we grew up, like, we're going to mirror it based on what we grew up seeing, right? So we think about our Blue Magic. That could sit under our counter for 5 years or so. So a lot of the times, I feel like we're doing a lot better given the education that the founders are talking about now, and they're sharing, and the reasoning why. But I feel like a lot of the times we are in a natural movement, be it hair, food, lifestyle, and I think that that's beautiful. But I think that it's all about managing expectations. If you want that product to last, it has to have some type of component or compound in it that's going to make it shelf life worthy, right? So we talk about natural hair products are expensive, it's this, it's that, but it's like if you want it to last, it has to have something
like a
in
preservative
it. Or some type of preservative.
Or a chelator or like a thickener.
Exactly.
And a lot of the times with even like skincare products, I know even for me, like I started as like a kitchen chemist essentially, but as you reach more of a customer base, you realize like, okay, well, if I get into retail, like I have to be able, like you said, it has to be a shelf stable product. And you can find things that are like as close to natural. So like even for me, like when I make soap, a lot of people will be like, well, you're using sodium hydroxide in your soap. And I'm like, you have to use sodium hydroxide in the soap.
And I believe in innovation. I believe in technology. I believe that there will be a time where those components won't be necessary. But until then, do you want your avocado gel spoiling in one day? Right. You want it to do your hair again 2 weeks from now, right? So in order for that to happen, I think that that that's just where we are. But speaking life, I don't feel like that's where we always will be.
So speaking of which, when we were talking about some natural ingredients, do you think like avocado? Because I think I bought like an avocado type of thing. But again, you had to like keep it in the refrigerator, and I think it did have like a little bit of preservatives in it because
I think I know the brand you're talking about.
Okay, probably do, because I don't know if they're like based here or something. But again, like, of course, we can easily, like, keep these things in our refrigerator and do them ourselves. But sometimes people don't want to make their own things. You want to be able to buy the products and just have it kind of like.
Yeah.
I just want to be able to put it on my hair.
That's it. Right. And the curls come, right?
Right.
So I think that one day we will be there, and I'm always studying different products, whether they come to me personally for me to test out, but I'm always studying different products and different campaigns and different marketing, because I think we're all trying to reach the people, right?
Yeah,
we're all trying to give the people what they want, and we all want to have the yielding results that we claim for our products to have. But it's just always interesting to see the claims that the different products yield, because as a hairstylist, we can look at things and be like, that's not necessarily true. But as a consumer, we're like, oh, it doesn't do this, or it does do that. Sold. Add to cart.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Okay, so that brings me to my next question then. And feel free to think about it just for a second, because I know whenever somebody asks me about like a myth or a misconception, you really have to, you might not be thinking about it right then and there.
Yeah.
But what kind of like natural hair care myths or misconceptions, what is just one main one that you would like to address?
I think that was an easy one. I didn't have to think about it. But I think it's that you have to have a certain type to have this style or that style, or it has to look a certain way, or you have to have a certain grade of hair, or you have to have good hair. There's no such thing as good hair. That's a misconception.
Say it again.
There's no such thing as good
Why?
hair. Because good hair is healthy hair. Good hair, as long as hair can grow out of your scalp, that's good. That's beautiful. That's what our scalp is meant to do. It's meant to produce hair. It's meant to be able to have a good foundation. So I feel like good hair is healthy hair. So sometimes as a stylist, like I said, I'm very understanding, but internally when people say like good hair or nappy hair, that's like a curse word to me.
It really is.
It hurts my feelings, because I don't feel like it's that. And I think sometimes words, you can put your own meaning to it. Like, I know some people are like, locks instead of dreads or stuff like that. But I feel like it's just the connotation behind it and the history. It breaks my heart. Yeah.
I feel you. And I think that a lot of times, like even maybe sometimes we might slip up subconsciously, or a lot of people subconsciously will say like, oh, well, that person has good hair, or, this person has nappy hair. And I think I think that we're embracing, I think that there is power in the words, like, saying like versus like locks or dreads, and they're either way the hairstyle is beautiful,
right?
But again, when we talk about like nappy hair, I think that like nappy hair is more so becoming embraced, because like that's what it is. But it did have like this negative connotation towards it, back in the day, especially during like racial turmoil times, when they're like, oh, your hair is nappy and you breaking a comb, which I was combing my hair the other day, a couple weeks ago, and I broke a comb, and it was like everybody looking at me like, what? But we have, I'm so thankful that we have just come to this point where we're embracing our natural hair.
Right.
We're working with it. And yes, it might take a little bit more work, but that's why so many Black women and people of color are actually seeking out like hair care companies that make hair care specifically for us, or stylists. And that's always been like a rites of passage, just even as like ever since we were young Black girls, going to the hairstylist, getting your hair done, getting your hair tamed, and coming out looking beautiful, whether it be braids, whether it be curls at the time back in the day, whether it was relaxers. But everybody, any kind of natural hairstylist is helping to change the thought process and the conception, and the perception around natural hair just being this thing that's like, oh, nobody wants to deal with it, and oh, it's not beautiful, to like this is me.
Right.
This is me.
And I love that, and I try to encourage my clients too. Like I got my makeup done today, but I'm not an everyday makeup wearer. So I tell people, and I'm looking at your skin, I'm like, is that makeup or is that?
No, but most of the time when I do the podcast, I put on a little makeup. But today I just did like my eyebrows, and my mom always told me like you could just do like your eyes and lips to like bring through like your natural beauty, essentially.
Right. And you like beauty. I'm like, I gotta get some Urban Eden before I leave here because I'm sold. But a lot of the times when people big chop their hair, their experience is different. But one thing that I do see consistently is like everybody's like, oh, I have to put on some earrings. Now I got to beat my face every day. And it's like, you don't have to. And I feel like if I can stand behind them as I'm doing their hair and they can see me as an example who, don't get me wrong, there's nothing wrong with makeup. I'm not against it. Do you, right? But I feel like it's not a necessity if you don't want it to be. So I want it to be an option and not something that you feel like I have to have just because I big chop my hair or I have to have big earrings. And if you need earrings, we have an earring drawer for that too. It's a part of the experience.
Yeah, I know that.
Oh, sorry. You gotta come back.
Oh, wait, y'all have an earring drawer where y'all put
it's the goodie drawer. It's the goodie drawer with like the lip gloss. And you didn't.
I'm sad because I didn't know about that when I was
so sorry. I think I was just so excited and see, she has to come back, you guys.
I feel like those are the two, and actually that's why I say you really making an experience when you come there, because I don't know if you saw me, you're like, okay, I had my big old hoop earrings, because I was like, I'm always like, okay, once I know, you act brand new, like you said. Once you get your hair done, like baby, I'm back in business.
FaceTime
so you
calls
put on
only.
like you said only
FaceTime calls on. Yes,
y'all gonna see me all in the camera. But like you said, those earrings are like that extra little touch. And then what the lip gloss? Like your lips, you don't want your lips to be crusty.
We have Vaseline in that drawer. We have lip gloss. We have clip-on earrings for people who don't have their ears pierced. We have fake lashes because maybe you feel like you just need a little like. So I'm sorry. We got to give you double when you come back now. So we have everything in that drawer. What we try to do at our salon is anticipate everybody's needs and really like, okay, of course, Stone Mountain. I feel like when you came, you were like, oh, it has charm to it. And that's what I want it to embody. I want, when you walk up those steps, I want you to feel like you're home. You arrive. Like, welcome to the Curl House, because I want you to feel like it's a safe place. I want you to feel like there's no question that you can't ask. There's nothing that you can't talk about. Like, I want you to feel like you're at home. You get a meal, maybe not a whole meal, but you get a snack, you get something good to drink, and we're just going to have a good time.
And that's exactly how I felt when I was there. I definitely felt like it was a safe space. And honestly, going to a hairstylist, and even for men, I know going to like the barbershop, it's always been like that safe space, like a social type of space where you're just, talking about different things and bringing up different topics, whether or not you're having a debate or you're getting along. You're like, girl, let me tell you what happened last night with my man was tripping or something like that. It's that stylists, or even a lot of people that do services like nails or something, they're often therapists for a lot of people. Like, it's just a time for us to transform ourselves, to love on ourselves and take care of ourselves. And that's just a vital part of like us being women. I know I was watching that movie on Netflix, the Tyler Perry movie, where they were what is the name of it? Where the women were in the military. It was recent.
Oh, yes. 6888.
6888. That's what it was called. And I don't know if you saw it. Well, you saw it.
They had the hair salon in there. Yes.
Even though they're in the military, even though they're doing like this grunt work, they got to march. And the military is really like associated with just like, for one, being like masculine and different things. Like, they still had this like feminine aspect to it of like, well, we still gonna make ourselves look cute, because everybody's hair is different. We gonna always do what it does to make sure our hair looks good. If you can conquer
your hair, you can conquer anything in life. So I feel like if you have that, like you said, it's more than just hair. It's a chance for you to unwind. It's a chance for you to sit and think. It's a chance for you to try something out, to feel outwardly more beautiful, but in the process, you're inwardly feeling more beautiful. So I feel like if you can just take a minute, and I'm not saying this because I am in the beauty world, but I really believe you step differently. You do act brand new. Like you said, even as a child, getting your hair done before brand new was a term, we knew what that was. We're acting, or we're walking extra with the beads in our hair because it's swinging, like, you see me, right? Like, of course. Like, oh, this whole thing, right? So it just comes with it. So I think it's innate. I think getting your hair done, it's law.
It changes. It elevates you. You know, your outfits look cuter. That's why I say you put on a little earring, little lip gloss. You like, I'm a step. You feel like going outside. Like, I'm going to go somewhere today and put on the outfit.
I feel like I can have on a t-shirt to my ankles, which I guess is a dress. But if I have that on, if my hair is popping, I can rock it. I can feel like a runway model. But I can have on the outfit and my hair's not done, I'm not going. If my curls aren't conquered, I'm not going.
That reminds me of that Facebook or Instagram meme. It was like, there was nothing wrong with me. I just need to get my hair done.
That's it. That's it. That's all. Yeah.
Feel like there was nothing wrong. Okay, so before we close out, though, I'm definitely want you to give us information on the salon. But real quick, I wanted to ask you, I guess we could consider this kind of like stylist talk.
Sure.
I know when I was there last time, I asked you a question. And I don't know if I asked this one in particular, but I'm going to ask it here on the podcast and get your thoughts on it. What are your thoughts on the Mael situation? It's not, I don't know if it's still fresh now, but shout out to her first and foremost. I never downplay or talk about any beauty founders because it's hard.
Yes.
It's hard. And even just, taking the step out there and being like, hey, I need to create this for women like me. But now it seems like it's in a way like backfired. And I don't think it's everybody per se, but there's just this large community of people that's like, oh, well, the formula has changed and she's changed. But I mean, we all had to start somewhere and then it all goes somewhere. But what is your thought process? Because that's a natural hair care product company.
I feel like, one, I want to touch on what you said. She's changed. I do follow her, but I think like with social media, I don't see everything that she does do. And I know I see those posts all the time in the new year. Stop saying new year, new me. You're supposed to change.
Yes, you're supposed
so
to
I just want to address that. Like, I think a lot of people try to like down people for changing.
I didn't say she changed. I said they said that the formula changed.
Oh, okay. We can edit that part out.
I don't know her in particular.
Okay, I was like, me either. But I feel like a lot of the times I tell people all the time, there's always 6 sides to a story. So I feel like we would have to ask those individuals, what's your foundation? Like, what does your foundation look like? Are your ends trimmed? Because that can contribute. Are you taking your vitamin D? Are you taking your iron pills? Because
they're trying to blame the product.
Right. So without us being behind the scenes, we can't say yay or nay that the product has changed.
Come on, right?
But I just want to know that, like, was your foundation intact? Was everything right internally and externally? Because those are factors that can have an impact on it as well. I feel like based on the one video that I did see, and like I said, I do follow her, but I don't see everything that she posts. She's very transparent. And I feel like sometimes people, you can change the structure of your business, and because you change the structure of your business, they feel like everything has changed. And I feel like as an entrepreneur, it's a beautiful thing to be transparent where you feel led to be transparent. We don't owe everybody everything, but I feel like people feel like, hey, you do owe me this, and that's life. People are going to make assumptions. People are going to say things, but I think just standing firm in your brand and knowing your brand, you'll be fine. I feel like this will wash over, literally, because her brand is tried and true. I like what she does for the community. I like that she is so transparent as a fellow entrepreneur. So I'm always for the curl community.
Yes.
But I'm also for my fellow entrepreneurs too.
Yes.
So I can't really say yay or nay. Like I said, I'm always trying to look at every aspect of what could have happened, what might have happened. I try to look from the consumer's point of view because their concerns are valid too.
Yes.
I know a lot of times as entrepreneurs, we're our own boss. We are not. Our consumers are our bosses.
Yes.
So, I think it's important that, hey, she did address it, because she could have just said, oh, whatever, something else will be in the media next week. But she took those concerns and she talked about it, and she talked openly and candidly about it. So I can respect that.
That was well said. I think I pretty much agree with everything that you said because, especially just me being a founder as well of like a skincare product. And of course, like if somebody might have, and that goes back to what we said in the beginning, like our hair and our skin go through seasons, it can be different factors, but I know like people and things can be different for people, but people like, I've used this soap all the time and now this soap did this to me or what have you. And I know even me personally, I'm going to talk about this. I think hopefully if the period doctor will come on my podcast, we'll see.
Yeah, I love her page.
I hopefully she will, but I know that like when I'm on my cycle, like I can't use any soap, like no soap down there. And I attribute it to like, I'm on my cycle and I'm thinking that maybe the pH is definitely different. And it's just like, being on your menstrual is like a cleansing process in itself, you know. So I think it's kind of like the vagina's just like, don't nothing need to be coming down here other than some water, pretty much. So that's what I'm saying. So we kind of have to be mindful that maybe sometimes the product might not be for us in that season. And especially as women, we go through different phases. Our hair goes through phases. Our bodies go through phases. Our hormones go through phases. And
everything is changing. Our foods are changing. Everything. So that's something that's impacting us internally. We have different stressors in life. Like I know, like right now, like when I'm stressed out, I'm going to get a couple pimples. My skin is going to look different. So it's not just your face. It can happen to your hair too. So maybe they just have hard water in that area. I don't know.
It could be hard water. But again, it's like, it could just be that backfire. But I do appreciate her for just always communicating with people. Too. That's something that you always have to do. And again, like you said, you can have empathy for the consumer on one side and understanding that, you know, that could have been their situation. It might have been one person's situation. I don't know if it was everybody who just like kind of got on the bandwagon situation.
Yeah, and I think it came out that I don't know. I think because TikTok is here. Somebody got paid to do that. And that's disheartening because for me, of course, when that time comes, because we're speaking life, when that time comes and I do have a brand, I never want to tear down another brand for me to succeed. I feel like we can all succeed as a collective. There's something, and I know people say that all the time, but I truly mean that. So I feel like that's so disheartening. And for the reaction that she got, she didn't have to endure that. So I feel like, I don't know if that's defamation or I don't know, but I feel like once it's out there, unfortunately. So I hope that she's able to bounce back if she ever lost the spring. So I feel like, I hope she's doing well. Yeah.
I'm pretty sure she's doing well again. Like she's reached, she's a pioneer within the industry as well. For her to even reach the levels that she has, to reach the masses the way that she has. And I do, again, like you said, on one side you can understand the consumer and on one side you understand the brand founder. And again, it's when you are reaching out to more and more customers, like it's different from when you're starting in your kitchen and you can do that little avocado mask that you tell people put in the fridge, or, you know, I'm using these small basic oils that I was able to get somewhere else. But then it's like, as you continue to develop as a brand and within your products and reach out to more customers, you have to create this more shelf stable product that's gonna sometimes include many different ingredients. But I think it's on us too, just as the founders, to just always continue to educate the consumers, to relate to the consumers and keep our ear to them and to maintain that relationship.
And that's what I was going to say. And I know that we talked about this, but I feel like you guys do a great job of involving the consumers in your process, because I feel like with that, their loyalty to you guys is going to be so strong. So if and when that ever happens, when you guys do like come out in stores and stuff like that, you guys will be great.
Thank you. And we'll see. We get people sometimes like, don't go in stores, don't do this, don't do that. But again, you know, running a business and the vision that you have for your products is personal.
Right. And I think that's a whole nother conversation because
girl, I love how she gonna throw a curl in every word, a conversation.
I speak it naturally now. I love it.
You speak curl. What is
it? Curlpanese, like guapanese.
Curlpanese, child.
Fluently.
Well, this was such a great conversation to have with you, the Curl Conqueror, Courtney.
Thank you.
Thank you for coming on this podcast today. And before we close out, can you let us know about like where your salon is located and how can we book an appointment?
Okay, so we're on all platforms as the Curl Conqueror, spelled normally. Our salon is located in Stone Mountain, Georgia, right off of Main Street. So when you think about those mountains, think about us because we want to help you conquer those. To book an appointment, you can go online to our website at www.thecurlconqueror.com, and we'll be waiting to welcome you in and get you conquered.
All right. And y'all see from this conversation that we had today
There we go.
that Courtney is amazing. She
Thank
offers
you.
amazing conversation, and the experience when you go to the Curl Conqueror house. Is that what you call
Yes,
it?
the Curl House.
The curl, when you go to the Curl house,
Yeah.
it's going to be very unique, and it's definitely a one-of-a-kind experience. So if you got natural hair like me and you just like, baby, I want somebody else to do this hair, then definitely hit her up and, go get that experience.
Thank you for having me. This was awesome.
No problem. It was definitely a pleasure. So this has been another Urban Eden podcast episode. Thank you guys for tuning in. And until next time, peace.
Peace.